All right, guys, we are talking today about how to stay relaxed while you're rowing without stopping the handle. Now, here's the deal. We see a lot of people, especially in CrossFit, talking about stopping the handle here, here, or here. All right, now, what's important to know is that rowing is an endurance movement, which means that it's a cyclical movement, just like running, cycling, swimming, any of those sports where you would never stop to rest. You continue moving and you simply recycle momentum. It becomes an infinity loop of movement. And that's our goal, is recycle momentum so that the system continues moving, because it allows you moments of relaxation and rhythm. And what we care about is settling into rhythm. Again, we always come back to the concept that we are pushing against the machine and trying to find an optimal point of connection, because connection is what matters most. So instead of resting during the stroke, by pausing, we are going to learn to create consistency and relaxed movement while still moving. Now, at the foundation of this, what we need to understand is that in the drive phase, the actual application of force phase, so from the catch to the release phase, okay, that is the only phase of the stroke where we can do work to the machine. Now, during that phase of the stroke, the legs produce 60% of our power, the hip swing produces 30, and the arms produce 10. Okay, now remember that. Now, the first thing we need to understand is that after the drive phase, we move to what's called the release, and it's the release of the handle. Okay, that's all it is the handle moving in and away again. Now that is a critical piece of the puzzle, because it creates that initial movement back into what's called the recovery. And the recovery is called so because we recover. Right? We don't spend any energy through that phase of the stroke because there is no ability to actually produce force on the machine. So the release is critical because it kind of starts this system that we're talking about of moving without stopping. So the release, again, I start at the catch, I drive, and then release the handle. I get the handle as close as possible without touching, and then immediately move it away again. Now, the recovery. It's called the recovery because we recover, but it also serves the purpose of setting us up to get us back to the catch at the same position that we started in. Okay? Now, I release the handle. The recovery is really a three-phase movement, just like the drive is a three-phase movement. So remember I said 60% comes from the legs, 30% from the hips, 10% from the arms. During the recovery, I give those exact same percentages, but in amount of time to recover. Okay? And I also reverse course. So I move in the exact opposite direction that I did during the drive. So on the release, I release the handle, which moves the first phase of the recovery. That's the arms. Remember I said it's a reverse course. So after the arms are straight, then I close the hips. And once the hips are closed, putting my body at the same 1 o'clock angle I want at the catch, then I let the knees relax and I glide up to the catch. But remember the 60-30-10 concept? Well, the arms moving in and away immediately gives me that 10%. It's a pretty quick movement. It's not a slow, controlled movement with the arms, because the arms only give me 10% of the force during the drive. I'm only going to give them 10% of the recovery time. Once the arms are about to straighten, then I rock the hips closed, and that gives me 30% of the recovery. So I'm going to spend 30% of the time closing the hips, right? So the hips close. Then once the body gets to 1 o'clock, then I'm going to allow the knees to bend. And this is going to be where I spend 60% of my time recovering. Because they produce 60% of the work, I want to give them 60% of the recovery. So back to the original question of how to relax while you're rowing without stopping, it comes to the release and the recovery, and making sure that you execute those properly. So starting at the catch, I drive, release the handle, and then as soon as the elbows are about to extend, that leads into the closing of the hips. And then as soon as the hips hit that 1 o'clock angle, then the knees bend. And this is where I give myself loads of time to recover and relax. I don't do it by stopping here or here, because what this means is that to start my movement back forward, I need to then pull with my legs, which spends energy pulling myself forward, only to turn around and push again. So now I spend more energy in my legs than I'm actually getting credit for on the machine. Okay? So when learning to relax while rowing or during the rowing movement without stopping, it comes down to releasing the handle and allowing it to flow into the recovery. And then truly relaxing during the recovery. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, I would never row at this low of a stroke rate during a workout, and that may be true. But I can take this same level of relaxation and move the stroke rate up. And what you'll notice is that the ratio is still there, in that I am still slower during the recovery than on the drive. So the drive may be quick and explosive, but then I relax and I time it out through the recovery. So, how do we relax while we're rowing without stopping? We use the release, we use the recovery to our advantage, and we make sure that we are using them in the correct order and using the proper mechanics as we move through that phase. All right, guys, this is Dark Horse Rowing, signing off. Make sure you sign up for the Dark Horse Rowing Club, in which you will get coaching and workouts 2 times a week, every week, for all your rowing needs, whatever they may be. And sign up for the Hustler's Guide to Rowing on our website, where you will get our latest blog article and video in your inbox every Tuesday. All right, signing off. See you on the other side.